And the thing is that most victims are in a constant state of fear, and so they're reacting out of a PTSD state, and collecting evidence is actually really difficult. But I've been trained, and I know the law, and so I do know how to, and I've spent the last 2 years dealing with this abuse, and to the point where I've been forced out of work. So it's my full-time job to understand what they're doing to me and try to work around it. I'm at the point right now where I've been fully isolated out of pretty much doing anything, including texting and communicating with my sons, which is a sign of actions that are in the near future that have repeated in the past. Once I get to a point where I'm isolated out of all my accounts, to the point where I can't communicate, my money is drained. Yes, they have drained my bank accounts. They have taken over my cable where I can't watch TV. I can't call. They've taken over my phone to the point where I couldn't call and I couldn't text anybody. I couldn't even call 911. And then an attempt was made on my life. So understanding that I'm being hacked, and the hacking is designed to consistently put me in a position to be dismissed and isolated and ignored. And then there's another layer on it, on top of that my credentials, my emails, every single email or social media platform that I open is being used to conduct criminal activity. So there is a criminal operation happening at the expense of my name, my numbers, and anything that links back to me. And this is happening over a course of 2 years now. So if I happen to, not make it, and maybe it looks like a suicide or an overdose, because the last time that this has happened, that's exactly what they tried to do. And I'll go ahead and let you listen to the other 2 audios to hear the whole story. But if that happened and I didn't make it, seems to me that if my perpetrator has enough connections to conduct this operation, it would not be hard at all for them to use those network connections to replace the narrative of the last 7 years of at least one report against this man to CPS and police on behalf of my children for the last 7 years, one a month at least. I mean, maybe that's a little bit high, but there is a full, complete record. And the record in public domain is in direct correlation to everything that I have documented, every piece of evidence that I have collected, which includes a 75% burden of proof. Pictures, time and date, witnesses, victim report, multiple witnesses hearing the victim's statement and seeing the victim before and after, etc. Proof that is measurable, that can be proven. I have 7 years worth of that amount of evidence. And yet, my life has been subject down to a literal modern day slavery. I am a slave. The fact that I have the capacity or know-how to collect evidence in that way and use my voice to assert myself so that my rights will be, exercised is the exact reason why my perpetrator has utilized his means of blackmail and greater network connections, including getting people to break the law repeatedly on his behalf to the point that put them, these professionals, in a position where their license could be taken if and when I receive justice. So, in short, the motivation is there on such a level after so many years of getting people involved to break the law, thinking, being told that I'm just some nobody girl who doesn't have any clout, that's never gonna, gain any ground, is easily dismissible. They jump on board. They ignore mandates such as deliberately or willfully not allowing a victim to present evidence that would amount to a mandated investigation. Because I will tell you this, everything that I have, every report made and all the evidence I collected, every single one, by law, mandated an investigation. Sorry, I'm a little anxious. So that means that every police officer and every CPS agent broke the law countless times over. So if I'm heard, then all these people are going to have to be subject to a criminal prosecution. So that motive, in a nutshell, may not totally equate to the actual pervasiveness of what I'm going through, but that's why you need to hear the whole story. And that's why subjecting me to having to prove myself over a virtual route while I'm a victim of virtual abuse is pretty indicative of what I'm going to face in the future. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to allow that to happen. It is my right to come into the police office and make a report and be heard by an officer that will look at my evidence, all of it, help me connect the dots, and then act based on the law of the burden of proof at hand. That is my right, and I will insist on it because my life is at stake and my children's lives and their future is at stake subsequently. And I have seen far too much to know that there is a breaking point, there's a threshold. And the reason for making an audio recording is to make sure that the public can access just how hard I tried.